Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 2, Episode 3. Let me start off by saying this was a solid episode, but my patience has officially worn thin regarding Jen not taking ownership about the things that she has said about Brooks. Because I'm gonna be completely real, I can't go another episode watching Jen just sit up here and lie the way she's lying. So with all that being said, let's just jump right on into this recap because we don't have a minute to spare. We start off the episode with Heather. She's at Beauty Lab. She's telling us how her business has doubled since the whole pandemic. She says that people want to have the perfect Zoom faces, so she wants to keep people with Botox in their faces and fillers in their lips. I said, I know that's right. When I go to Utah, I do want to stop by Heather's Beauty Lab and I want to meet her. So Heather, when I go, you better be there, okay? And I want a picture and everything. Heather FaceTimes Whitney and they start discussing her meetup with Jen. Whitney's like, how did it go? Heather says, we laughed, we cried, and now we're best friends again. And this is another storyline that I don't care to see anymore. I'm just really getting irritated by this whole Heather and Jen friendship. Then they fall out. Then Heather's groveling for Jen's friendship yet again. Like, I don't understand how many times the viewers can tell you, girl, this woman is not your friend. And I don't understand how you can't see at your big age that Jen doesn't really like you that much. Jen isn't a person who can have friends. She wants people who are fans or flunkies. Hence why she has 11 assistants and those are her main friends. I want Heather to stop being so desperate for Jen's friendship. It's really off-putting to watch. Like, girl, stop. Have some pride. Have some dignity. I'll be damned if I beg anybody for their friendship. All right? There are 8 billion people in this world. If you are no longer friends with Jen, I can assure you, you can find 5 more friends that are better than Jen. Like, enough with all this. So Heather says to Whitney, so what's your status with Jen? Like, are you guys cool? Whitney says that she doesn't know where she and Jen stand. Like, they kind of made up, but then they kind of left things off on a weird note. So she's just really unsure. Again, it couldn't be me. I would have told Jen where to go a long time ago. So I really can't relate to begging for somebody's friendship or wanting to stay in some toxic mess under the guise of it's a friendship. So now we move on to Jen and Lisa, and they're going ski biking. We all know that Jen does not ski or snowboard or ski bike, so she wasn't the best at this. I think Lisa was doing a good job, and then I think Jen and Lisa's other friend was there as well, and she did a nice job. But I was like, Jen, you've lived in Utah way too long to not be an expert at some of this stuff. I'm just saying, like, if I did live in Utah, I would be taking advantage of the mountains and the snow and all the ski activities. Just saying. So they finish with their ski biking and now they get hot cocoa. Lisa makes a joke about how she didn't want any hot cocoa. She wanted some tequila. And we all know that she owns, I think it's called Vita Tequila. But yeah, she owns a tequila company and that's what she wanted. Now, Lisa, I generally don't see it for you. I like imitating you and all, but I was here with you. I like some tequila, so I would have been right there saying, okay, can I get a shot or something to warm me up? They start talking. Jen brings up how Sharif has gotten into all these like activities around the house where he'll go to Home Depot and just start like tinkering around and start fixing things. I said, Sharif does not need to be touching anything in that rental. If they need anything fixed, let the landlord take care of it. But don't be messing up anything in that gorgeous rental chalet. I'm just saying. So now Jen switches gears and she's like, I have an adventure planned for all of us girls. Jen reveals that she wants them all to go ice fishing, but before they go, she needs all their information, like their height, their weight, their eye color, and I think she said their like full name and all that stuff. So Lisa's like, what? And then Jen's like, don't worry, I'm not gonna steal your identity. I said that was a very poor choice of words considering what she's facing right now and why she's facing up to 50 years in prison. But again, that was foreshadowing at its finest. So Jen lets Lisa know that she's invited everybody to the ice fishing activity, but she hasn't heard back from Meredith yet. So Lisa says, Jen, I'm just so happy that you've invited Meredith. I'm just so thrilled to hear this. I hate how Lisa's trying to act like Meredith is taking this too far. Like, Lisa, you know good and damn well that Meredith is well within her right to be as angry as she is at Jen. Jen is in the wrong to talk about Brooks and his sexuality, period. If Jen was sitting up there talking about one of your sons, you'd be going crazy. Like I said before, something tells me that Lisa and Meredith are going to be on the outs after this season is over. I just feel it. I feel like Meredith is definitely going to hold Lisa being on Jen's side right now against her. So Jen goes on to say how it's the right thing to do about inviting Meredith to ice fishing and how she wants to be all, girl, let's just get over it. I said, it's just so funny how Jen has this very cavalier attitude when she offends somebody, but when somebody offends her, she wants to go all World War III. Jen is very self-centered and she's not capable of being a good friend. Because for you to act clueless as to why Meredith is so angry, like that's a problem. So now they start discussing Jen's talk with Heather. Jen says it went well, but we both need to earn each other's trust back. I said, girl, what are you talking about? You did Heather dirty. Did you forget that too? You need to earn Heather's trust back. It's not the other way around. Lisa says in her confessional, you know, what Jen and Heather have going on is just very strange to me, and I want no parts of it because it's just really weird. Then Lisa brings up her issues with Whitney. We all know that Lisa did not see it for Heather or Whitney, and they bumped heads all last season. So we move on to Mary and her son. They're out at a bakery having some lunch, trying to catch up with each other, and this scene was just so bizarre. They sit down to eat. Mary's reprimanding her son because he didn't say grace before they ate. Then she didn't like the prayer he was saying, so she's like telling him what to say. So now she's reprimanding him for his table manners, and then she's kind of pestering him about how he wants to move out. So she's like, I think that you need to go to the army because that will help you. And he's looking at her like, girl, can I just eat my grilled cheese sandwich, please? Like, I didn't come here for all this. So now Mary says in her confessional how she's always talking to her son and she always tells him to wear a condom. And when she said, I tell him to wear a Jimmy, I said, girl, who says a Jimmy?
You know what? It's too much.
I said, I don't even think my grandmother called it a Jimmy. So then Mary says that Robert Sr. is where he is today because he went to the army. I said, girl, what are you talking about? Robert Sr. is where he is today because he married your rich grandmother. He saw the perfect opportunity, i.e. your grandmother, and took it. We move on to Jenny. She's at home with her family. Her kids are doing a science project. Then we see Jenny and her husband Dewey go into the living room to talk. Child, remember how Dewey was talking about he wanted the kids to have another sibling? And Jenny was like, no, the shop is closed, I'm done. Well, Dewey brings up the topic again. So Jenny's like, babe, what don't you get? I'm not having any more kids. Jenny says in her confessional how she had 9 miscarriages and 3 C-sections. And the doctor told her that another pregnancy could be very dangerous. So Dewey says, well, I know, but we need to get started on it. So Jenny's looking at her husband like, what? Jenny says in her confessional how she feels like her own husband is being very heartless, and he is. And I found this scene to be so infuriating. I was like, I want to believe that Dewey and Jenny are doing this for a storyline, because if he's this heartless about his wife's health, then that's a problem. I was watching this scene like, Jenny, baby, you might have to get these divorce papers drawn up real fast. Like, Dewey, what the hell is wrong with you? You sound absolutely out of your damn mind. And like I said in the last recap, you have 3 beautiful children. Be grateful about that. I don't understand why you're sitting up here trying to force your wife to have another kid, knowing the complications that could arise. These women are a lot nicer than I am, because I can assure you that Dewey might have gotten something upside his head. Like, don't sit up here and play with me on national TV, all right? Especially about something as serious as this. Heather's at home with her daughters, and I think one of her daughters is getting ready for her dance recital. So then she sits them all down, and she's asking her oldest daughter, who's about to head off to college, if she plans on still attending the Mormon church. Her oldest daughter says, nope, like, I'm good. The Mormon church is not for me. Then her middle daughter says, I'm a spiritual person, but no thanks. And then when the youngest daughter said, I mean, I want to go back, but I think that it's too late for me to go back. And then Heather was kind of teary-eyed, and she was like, it's not too late to go back. Like, I'll go with you for support, just so you don't feel alone. And that was really touching. They seem like very sweet and well-adjusted young ladies. And I think that her youngest daughter is just so adorable. And I feel like it is normal to grow up and then you have some growing pains. You know, you might lose your faith, find it again, lose it again. That's very normal. Things definitely do happen in life that can rattle your faith. So the girls are not alone. A lot of people do go through that, where it's like, you know, I grew up believing this, but now I'm feeling this way, or maybe I want to take a break from it. Like, that does happen. I expressed to you guys that I'm still dealing with my faith, still kind of grappling with it, with the death of my father. So, I mean, I get it. It's hard. Life can throw you some mean curveballs, okay? Life can really knock you down. And anybody who says otherwise is lying, all right? But things happen, and I wish them all the best on their spiritual journey, wherever it takes them. But I get it. We move on to Meredith. She's at home. She has her son, Brooks, there, her assistant there, and she has all these racks of clothing. We find out that she's going to do like a private showing because she carries a lot of these designers in her store. So a few of her friends, including Mary, come over, and they're going through the racks. Now, I was cracking up laughing because the producer asked what Mary thought about Meredith Style. And Mary had the nerve to try to play Meredith like Meredith Style is bad. I said, now, Mary, you are the last person to be talking about anybody's clothes. Mary's sense of style is, does it have a designer logo all stamped over it? That's Mary's style. Mary doesn't have a true eye. I'll be the first to admit it. I am somewhat of a label whore myself, all right? Designer does it for me. Like, I love it. There is something about having a designer piece. I'll be the first to just say it. I can admit it. But I am not so in love with designer that I can't also recognize when something isn't cute. Just because it's Valentino or Gucci, I can be like, yeah, no, I'm not feeling that. With Mary, she doesn't care if it looks bad or good because it's designer and it costs thousands. She wants it and she equates that to having style. So I just said, Mary, you look crazy in this confessional look that you've got on, and you're sitting up here trying to throw shade at Meredith Style. I know that Meredith Style can be a little bit out there because she loves a good blazer with some shoulder pads and she loves some bell bottoms. But don't try to play my girl and act like she can't dress, because Meredith does put a piece together, all right? Like, don't do her. So while Meredith and her friends are looking at the racks of clothing, Mary and Brooks go over to the side and start talking. We find out that Brooks and Mary have become friends and they talk often. I said, what? Meredith joins in Brooks and Mary's conversation and they start telling Mary about everything that Jen's been doing on Twitter. So Mary says, why don't you call up Jen and address her, like, get to the bottom of all this. So Meredith says, well, she did invite me out to ice fishing, but I don't know if I want to go to that. Mary says, this invitation is the open door for you to address this so this can stop. Jen is a grown woman in her 50s harassing a child. So while they're talking about Jen and the foolishness, Mary says, stop. I need peace and quiet. And then she says every time Jen's name comes up, it makes her want to pass gas. I said, Mary, did you have to say that? You did not have to share that with the class. And so Brooks and Meredith are kind of startled by what she just said, and they start laughing. I said, I feel so bad for Mary because she doesn't understand that people are generally not laughing with her. They're laughing at her, but she's too oblivious to notice. I said, girl, you did not have to say that to get your point across. We know that you can't stand Jen. Just leave it at that. We know that Mary is nutty as all hell, so I said, what am I expecting? We move on to the last scene of the night, and it is the day of Jen's ice fishing event. So everybody's showing up. Whitney, Heather, Lisa, and Jenny arrive. They're excited. Then they have the ice fishing instructor there too, and so everybody's pumped. Jen informs everybody that Mary declined the invitation because she doesn't do lakes and she doesn't do fishing. I said, Mary is me in this instance because I would have declined the offer too. No thanks. Certain activities, I already know I'm not going to have fun, so why waste my time and your time? And I'm not somebody who's going to come somewhere with a bad attitude. So let me do you a favor, and I'm just going to skip out, and maybe we can do lunch or go shopping or go see a play or go to a concert or do something fun. But fishing is not my idea of fun, especially not in the cold. So y'all have fun with that. I'll see y'all next week. Jen also tells the group that Meredith declined, so it's just going to be them for ice fishing. Well, baby, right when Jen says that, here comes Miss Meredith jumping out of her car, and she's dressed in her all white. I said, Meredith, you better have the girl shook. Did y'all see how nervous Jen was when Meredith pulled up? I said, that's how you know Jen is not about what she talks about. Y'all know that saying that says the loudest person in the room is generally the brokest and the weakest? That's Jen. Jen does all this to distract people from how scared and how insecure she really is. Lisa greets Meredith. She's like, I am so happy to see you. Like, I hope that you guys can have a conversation and just work it out. So then she goes on to ask Meredith if she had even planned on coming in the first place. And then Meredith says, no, I actually wasn't going to come, but then I changed my mind and decided that I want to address Jen face to face. So then we still see Jen hiding out. She's talking to Heather and she's like, Heather, can you talk to Meredith for me? Heather's like, no, girl, this is all on you. So she's like putting some lip gloss on Jen to like help her before she has to face Meredith. So Jen finally walks over to Meredith. And you can see that Jen is trembling, like she really doesn't want to address Meredith, but she knows that she has to. So Jen starts off the conversation and says, thank you so much for stopping by. Meredith says, I struggled with wanting to come, but I do think it's nice that you invited everybody to do this. Now Meredith really goes in for the jugular. She says, your actions are not aligning with your words. Did I or did I not tell you, do not ever speak poorly about my family? So Jen is just sitting there, not saying anything, looking scared. Then she addresses Jen hosting some Zoom call where Jen was addressing how Brooks needs to come out. So Meredith is getting angrier and angrier, and she says, I don't understand why you're doing this and you're forcing him to discuss something that he's not ready to talk about yet. So then she says, I need to know that you're against homophobic hate. So now here goes Jen lying and deflecting like she always does. She's like, what are you talking about? I haven't liked anything. So Meredith pulls out her phone and says, oh, really? And she shows the tweet that Jen liked. So Jen is now talking about, girl, I don't even run my Twitter. Somebody else runs it. I said, now, Jen, that's a bold-faced lie. It's really terrible when you can't own up to the stuff that you do. And you're sitting up here lying on national TV, knowing that everybody in the group and the viewers know that you're not telling the truth. So Meredith is so pissed. She storms off to go back to her car and leave. And while she's walking off, she's like, I will not listen to her lying, deflecting, and projecting. I will not do this. I will not sit up here and listen to her lie. So she's just so pissed. Lisa's running after her, trying to calm her down. I said, Lisa, why are you trying to act like Meredith is wrong for being heated? Go talk to Jen. Jen is the one who's lying. So now Jenny runs over to Meredith and Lisa, and she's trying to be the mediator. And she's like, you know, y'all need to just shut the F up and listen to each other and put this to bed. I said, Jenny, we are only 3 episodes in. You're the new girl. I'm gonna need you to stop doing the most. Stop trying to insert yourself, sis. That's my one issue with these new girls. These new girls are too eager and too thirsty to have camera time, so they jump into stuff that they have no business jumping into. Girl, you don't know the history between Jen and Meredith. I suggest you see yourself out of this whole conversation. So now Jen walks over, and Meredith is just so heated. She's like, do you know what a dark space this is for a child? And then Jen turns it to herself and says, what about my children? So Meredith is like, girl, what have I ever done to your kids? And Jen's just sitting there looking stupid because she knows she's pulling this out of her ass. I would have cursed Jen all the way out. Jen would have been the one crying. She would have been leaving her own event, because if you think you're going to mess with my children, I don't even have kids and I'm getting heated. Like, I'm serious, y'all. I was just so pissed watching that because she was really trying to deflect and act like Meredith was crazy. So Meredith says, you know what? Shout out to everybody. I have fun. I'm out.
Oh! Shout out to everybody. I had fun.
I gotta be good.
And then she says in her confessional that Jen is unable to see beyond herself. And if she can't own up to what she's done, then she's just over it. And then we hear Jen saying, you know, she just can't keep blaming me for everything. It makes perfect sense why your life is in the state that it's in. You're sitting up here allegedly scamming these seniors out of their money, and in your pea brain, you think that you've done nothing wrong. But y'all, this was a solid episode. I hope you all enjoyed my recap. You already know what to do. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all for Beverly Hills. Bye.